Today we have Judgment, the Hanged Man, and the Eight of Swords. Now, with Judgment leaning towards, what we need to take and what we need to leave behind, kind of separating the wheat from the chaff, if I may. And the Hanged Man giving this sacrificial energy. And then we are capped off with this Eight of Swords that is a struggle to find the strength to make a psychological move. We could be having open discussions about issues with communication, especially when it comes to making a choice that feels big for you, or making a choice that would confirm you are a different person. Okay? Because the Hanged Man, especially being in the middle, can emphasize that, this is about an alternative way of existing. It's not about an alternative way of being, believing. And with this depiction of this black male widow spider, let me repeat that. Black widow spider that's a male, they expect to be cannibalized after mating with the female. Because that's just how that's how it works. So it's like we know that making a big decision would completely release, in some cases destroy, an old way of living, that the old character. This could be talking about and knowing that would be a major ego death if we made a different decision. If we made one that actually likely prioritized our needs. Okay, and again, it comes back to, there's a strong emphasis that I'm getting around actual communication, and us talking about the awareness of it and possibly trying to do something about it, or saying something that's very hard. This could be talking about saying the hard thing, and saying the hard thing it's not always in regards to rejection. Saying the hard thing could be, you know what, I can admit I have been struggling. Or I can admit I need help. Or I can admit that I'm not always right. There's something that's been difficult for some of us to say because we've been resisting being the person who would be wrong. Because sometimes we can fight that. We can become stubborn about being wrong. So we find ourselves in these debates going back and forth, even though who we're talking with may not be incorrect. But we have this idea that, like, if we're wrong, we're not safe. So we may be recognizing that we're certain responses, and eights can talk about consistency as well, but like certain, let's just say, the reflex that we have around having to make a different decision, or in some cases, just having to speak up for ourselves, having to perform in a certain way, or having to be visible. Outright decide. I'm gonna also remind some of us here who are trying to consciously manifest, or you're more into that content. When things are not unfolding, if you still are saying to yourself, things are not unfolding, I still feel stuck. There's a lot of emphasis on time that you're creating here. And that goes back to the idea of not being enough, and the psychological change or the strength that you would need to tap into here. And I say strength because of the number 8 would be to just release those thoughts. Release the idea that you cannot have it. Release the idea that you cannot see more for yourself. Because the struggle is not being able to, you don't know what you want. Sometimes that's what it is. It's like you just don't know what you want, and that's why the thing you want hasn't shown up yet. Same goes for those of us who have been trying to battle an ongoing pattern. Maybe there's certain cycles and relationships that you've noticed, and maybe it's time to decide who you want to be in a connection, decide how you want to be treated, decide how you want to feel. And then be the person who makes that alternative decision, and allow yourself to exist as that person. It may not be comfortable at first for you to say no to somebody. Putting up that boundary may be like, but if I do that, then it changes the trajectory of the entire relationship. Then so be it. That's the point. If you cannot connect, if you notice that you're not able to connect with people who don't make it safe to be wrong around them, maybe that's part of the issue. Is we're having conversations with the wrong people. Okay? Because I'm getting that there's this recurring issue around not feeling good about what you have to say. It could be that you whenever you speak, it's revealing that you have very alternative views. And maybe as you're trying to speak, judgment almost feels like that's what you feel when you're trying to explain your perspective. And it's possible that once you realize, like, the cat's out of the bag, it's maybe I think like someone who's considered a weirdo. Maybe my way of thinking is too mystical, too esoteric, too magical. And then what do then I start shutting down. That pattern comes back. Because maybe I have opposing views. And then because I have opposing views, the way that it was conditioned for you is to feel unsafe because you have opposing views than the person in front of you or where you're at. So then you may even feel a bit suspended, or you may feel like you have to kind of silence yourself and again be cannibalized in that way, to where you're just stuck and suspended in a space that you don't feel comfortable in. There's suspension with both of these beautiful creatures here. But one is, it's hiding. It's like if you come out, then you expect to be devoured. You expect to be overwhelmed. So judgment is saying, choose your beliefs and live them out loud. Don't be afraid of thinking the way that you do, perceiving the way you do, or making choices the way that you have, the way that you do, and the way that you want to. Because you know what it's like to hide. And I think you're aware of that. And I feel like for some of you, this is talking about you're having the conversation out loud, maybe with the therapist, or maybe you're having it with your loved ones. You're talking about the different ways that you felt stifled when it comes to communicating who you really are, or who you've wanted to be, or who you've known yourself to be. I think this is very transformative, okay? And well, the judgment energy can be talking about rebirth. So when you hold to your standards, when you hold to your beliefs, and you allow yourself to take that risk and put yourself out there, yes, this is one way of experiencing that, the life of choosing yourself, is maybe during broad daylight. That's not where your community is. Maybe you are more nocturnal. You move with the other people who are willing to navigate through the darkness, willing to look at the shadows, willing to look at what's not there, willing to explore that. Maybe that's the choice that we have been trying to make, and we have a chance to make it out loud now. And again, it's talking about, like, sometimes if you see a bat in the daytime, it's like, for me at least, I'm like, is there something wrong? Is it misplaced? I think this is a reminder that it's okay for you to want to walk a different path. It's okay for you to want to explore different ways of thinking, different mindsets, different lifestyles, different belief systems, because there are others in community who are doing the same thing, and it's natural for you, just like it'll be natural for the communities that you connect with, that you join. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to create that content where you're talking about what's on your mind. You're practicing what you practice. You're sharing what you believe. Don't be afraid to make your voice heard. Yes, the risk is there, but that's what comes with having alternative views. You might go against the grain. You might not say or believe the same things that the majority around you does. but you don't have to keep sacrificing yourself. You can realize that, you know, maybe it's just that I'm not preaching to the right choir. Maybe I do make choices to keep trying to convince myself, or I feel judged because I know something else is going on here. Maybe I know this is not the place I need to be having this conversation. Or maybe I know there's more to what's going on here. Or maybe I know that I'm supposed to be identifying that I even have this pattern showing up in the first place. And what I would intend for all of you is that you actually have people around you who, again, can make being wrong or just even trying to sort things out loud, or just trying to figure out how to promote your beliefs confidently, that they support that they don't actually judge you for that, and that maybe this is just, I'm going to say like a misperception, okay? Maybe it's just the fear that has made us think that we're not being heard sometimes by people who are actually showing up for us. So I intend you actually do have people who are able to listen to you, and even if they have like staunch, solid beliefs, that if they, as long as you feel like, and you can communicate that yours also matter, and you feel like they matter, you feel like they actually hear you, then I think that's the point of this, is to just get used to just like practicing anything else. You're speaking a new language. You're speaking in a new language, not just with, you know, your thoughts and your mind and what you're writing and what you're saying. It's with your body too. You're walking in a new way. You are taking on a new role when you make this decision to just stick by who you are, what you are, and just be like, you know what, I am enough right now. I don't always need to be putting myself and my beliefs on the chopping block just because there are some counter thoughts in front of me, or I'm experiencing an alternative way of seeing things. Or maybe the way that I was experiencing something, maybe I was wrong. And it's actually safe to be wrong, because this whole thing is here. We're here to experience, so we are here to change our minds about ourselves. And for a lot of us, we have discovered and will continue to discover as we are healing that we were very wrong about how we had formerly perceived ourselves, and we were always enough. Always enough. Okay? So let the patterns come up. Let yourself feel safe expressing these patterns, and let yourself feel safe being the person who believes in an opposing view, and connect with those who can respect that and honor that. Okay? So I intend this reading was helpful, that you felt seen and heard. If this resonated, do let me know in the comments. I do love getting all your feedback, and I love hearing from all of you. If you don't know already, my name is Mayan, and I do offer personal readings. The information is in the description if you are interested in that. But as always, please do your best to keep the faith, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.